Okay, welcome to part 2. Let's get down our heading first. We always do that first. Name, number, date. First and last in cursive. Remember to write the date that you are doing the notes, not necessarily the date I am writing. And our subject is math. Okay, so here we have our problem here. Find the degree measure of the angle and classify it as acute, right, obtuse, or straight. So first we're going to measure it using the circle protractor, put our degree measure, and then we're going to classify it. Which type of angle is it? Okay, so this one starts at 0. If I count, I will get to 90 here, and each one's by 10. So 90, 100, 110, 120, 130. It's pointing directly to that angle measure, so I don't have to see if it's in between or not. So the degree measure is 130 degrees, and that is greater than 90 degrees. So if it's greater than 90 degrees but not yet 180 degrees, it is an obtuse angle. It's nice and large. Okay, our next one. Again, we're going to find the angle measure. We're going to then classify it. So it starts at 0. If you could see the numbers, you could see, it's a little easier on the side, you could see exactly where it's pointing. It's between, looks like the 40 and the 50. So just to make sure, 10, 20, 30, 40. Halfway between 40 and 50 is 45 degrees. And that's exactly half of this 90-degree angle. If you see, there's two 45-degree angles there. It's less than 90 degrees, so it is an acute angle. If you think of it as being little and acute. Okay, so here it's not starting at the 0, so I'm going to start counting from here. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, 160, 170, 180. It's pointing directly at that line. So it's 180 degrees. So counting is one way that you could get to it, but you could also see that this right here is pointing at 250 degrees. And this one's pointing at 70 degrees. The difference between the two is 180. So you can use subtraction. Here, 45 take away 0 is 45. This is why pointing at 0 is a lot easier, because when you subtract 0, it stays the same. So you can use subtraction to find the distance or the difference between the two, and it can give you your measurements. A lot easier when it's pointing at 0, because where it terminates is the answer, because 130 take away 0 is 130. This is exactly 180 degrees. It is a straight angle because it looks like a straight line. It is a straight line. And it's exactly 180 degrees. So when they tell you to turn around completely, to turn 180, to turn 180, it's going exactly in the opposite direction of where you're going. And that's where that term comes from circles. And our angle measures. Okay, so let's see this one here. Let's see, we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140 degrees. Or if you could tell, this one's pointing at 190. This one's pointing at 50. And if you subtract 50 degrees from 190 degrees, you're left with the difference of 140. That's what this angle measures. So it's taking this measure from here to here and then subtracting this out. and that leaves this one. So we have 140 degrees. That is greater than 90, but less than 180, so it is an obtuse angle. Okay, this next one here is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 degrees. Or another way of looking at it, this is 180, 190, 200, 210. 210 degrees, take away 120 degrees is 90 degrees. Well, if it's exactly 90 degrees, it is a right angle. If you didn't see it before, you may see it now. That's that square angle, that perfectly right angle. Those are the only ones that get those squares in the corner to indicate their angle measure, the right angles only. When we get to triangles, that's going to be very important. You only put that square when it's a right angle. Okay, so we have our last one. So starting here, we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 degrees. But another way to look at it is this ends at 300 degrees, and this one's pointing at 250 degrees. The difference between the both of them is 50 degrees. This is less than 90 degrees, so it is an acute angle. Hopefully with the practice that you've been receiving, you're more easily able to see the difference between those four classifications of angles. Let's go ahead and practice more with measuring angles with circles. Thank you for joining me.